to view these forces as kind of inexorable determinist forces is really to take a kind of Marxian view, which makes the study of history purely into a way of reading the tea leaves and seeing what's coming in the future. But if what you're saying is true, as I believe it is, there's a way to take some of the tactical errors that you're describing in the Peloponnesian War and use them as cautionary tales to understand our situation going forward.
I think the determinist view, the Hegelian view of history is on an arc to a predetermined finishing point, was very popular in the 80s and 90s, especially with an article in a book by Francis Fukuyama that consumer, capitalist, consensual government was the only system that worked, and whether we liked it or not, we were all headed in that direction. And at the time he wrote that, we had the greatest number of democracies in the history of the world. While there was some truth to it, I think that what happened after that, 9/11, the rise of radical Islam, the loss of democracy in very many places, the tragedy of the post-Soviet Union, which did not turn out to be, as people said it would be, constitutional. The idea that Tiananmen Square would inevitably lead to Chinese democracy, especially if the corporate world and the United States government and its appendages were to treat China with magnanimity, bring it into this family of nations, bring its students over, acculturate it to the West, they would be impressed. In fact, they looked at that outreach as magnanimity to be dealt with as weakness, deserving of contempt rather than aid deserving of gratitude. And so all we did was we gave them certain Western elements that enhanced their economic, their educational, and their military systems, but they picked and chose. And one thing they did not want was our system of cultural, economic, political, constitutional government. They just didn't want it. And they feel they made a wise choice. I don't think they did, but they feel they did. But the point is that it's not determined by some. Barack Obama was very eager to say the arc of history bends toward the moral good. History is cyclical, and there are certain events in the past that replicate each other, and we can look back, and if we make the necessary adjustment, we can see that they're valuable, but none of them, ipso facto, will be deterministic on what we do. They're just there as reference point. And the historian's job is not to prejudice his selection of each of these examples, but to use them in a way that's conducive to making a current analysis. But history doesn't repeat itself, but it follows earlier guidelines, and then it comes to slightly different results.